So now that we have our project set up and we have Atom open, let's go ahead and write our first few lines of HTML. And whenever we start writing, we're going to see some of the functionality of Atom come through, but remember that you could do this in any text editor software. So just keep that in mind. This is still just a Word document that we're just editing. So I'm going to start by typing in a less than sign. And HTML elements, basically the words in HTML that are signifying to the computer or the browser how to render a certain part of the page, always start with this little symbol. And then I'm going to type in the letter P. And see, it's already starting to fill in what it thinks I want to do. And then I'm just going to close it with another, this is a greater than sign. So we start with one less than sign, and then P, and then a greater than sign. And I'm going to type in a little piece of text. Then I'm going to do another less than sign, a slash, P, and then close that. So what's happening here is this is signifying to the browser, hey, here's a paragraph. This is the end of the paragraph. The content between these two, this is the opening and the closing element. Between these two elements is the paragraph content. Okay? So all we're telling the computer is, hey, start thinking about this as paragraph text and stop thinking of it as paragraph text. Let's go ahead and go up to our Packages menu, Preview in HTML, and say Enable Preview. This is one of the packages that we installed. So we can see, hi, this is a paragraph. Okay, cool. Seems simple enough. Let's hit Return. This time I'm going to use some of the Atom functionality, and I'm going to do a header. A header is signified, it's the same format, so we have this little less than sign. There's H1, H2, H3. These are all different pieces of a header, and it's not important what they all mean right now, but just keep in mind that the H basically means header. So I'm just going to type in the H1, and whenever I do that, notice it pulls up this little pop-up menu. This is saying, are you trying to write a piece of HTML? And if I hit return or enter, it'll automatically fill that in for me. So we have H1, close H1, and I can write, this is a header. Let's see how that appears in our preview. Great. So let's just do that one more time. So I'm going to do H1, so heading 1. See, and it just auto-filled that. I can hit return. And I can write some text, and I'm good to go. I'm going to hit return again. This time let's do another paragraph. So I'll type in P, and see, just automatically fills that in. So I have a bunch of options I can scroll through with my arrow keys. I'm going to just pick paragraph and hit return. And we can see how it's changing. Now don't worry too much about the visual. This is all, this can all be changed later, but basically what we're doing is we're just telling the browser how to interpret all of this stuff, all of this information, okay? So we're just telling it, we're almost like tagging parts of it. So this is a markup language, right? So we're kind of marking up the page in a way where we're telling it, here's what this is, here's what that is, and we're defining the structure of the page. I'm going to clear all this out, and let's write something new. Let's do A for anchor. And an anchor is another word for basically a link. So I'm going to do anchor, and I hit return. And this time it gives me something a little different. So it gives me A, and then href equals, and then this little symbol, and then close A. So this is basically how we make a link. Anchor is also, like I said, another word for a link. So let's write in the word link. And look, it looks like a link. This href part is saying, what happens when we click this link? Right now we're telling it to go to nothing. This is just a hash, which basically means nothing. So we could put in, now that link, whenever we click it, is going to go to google.com. If we click it, it loaded Google. Great. I'm going to just close out of this because that might mess up my my preview, and let's reopen up that preview again. Okay, good. If we change this text over here, right, it's going to look differently over here because it's changing what the actual link text is. So this is the link text, and then here we have a little option for our anchor that we're modifying. If we go to the developer network, I'm just going to open up Opera and go to the MDN developer network. Under references, we can go to our HTML reference, and we have HTML elements. So this is what we've just been working with. So we just used A. If I click that, it's going to tell me some of the attributes. So this is called an attribute, this href. So href contains a URL, and here's an example of it. Pretty simple. So let's just go ahead and do P and save this document, and we are done. We've written our first line of HTML.